Hello interwebs, welcome to Let's Fix Computers. I'm going to unbox and have a quick look at a new bit of equipment that has probably been a long time coming in my shop. This is a desoldering gun, also known as a solder pump or electric solder pump. So it's a piece of equipment used for removing solder from a circuit board. Now, for a lot of people who watch my channel, they're probably like sort of, oh yeah, I've got one of those, or I've used one of those, or, you know, there are plenty of other channels that use these all the time. Not a new piece of equipment. I've just always looked at them and gone, oh, I don't want to buy one of those. However, recently I've been finding myself, the way I remove solder is generally just using solder wick or desoldering wire, where this is just a copper braid, which just soaks up solder like a sponge. But it can be very inefficient. It's a very inefficient way to do it. It's very tricky to use it effectively. And in addition to that, in certain circumstances, it's very difficult to use it without risking damage to the device. Whereas these can be used in a very delicate manner. So I'll unbox this and get it out, and we'll start it heating up, and then I'll tell you more about why I've just suddenly decided to buy one now. So this one was purchased from, I did get this one on I can't remember if I got this one from Amazon or eBay. It's available from both. It's a very common, just standard Chinese style one. However, I have seen other channels that seem to be using these to great effect, using this exact model, which is why I chose it. So let's see. Oh, blimey. We're going to need to do some modifications on this because it's come with a death adapter, as it would be called, for export only travel adapter. This is why unboxings can be fun. Straight away. I've no idea what country this is for. It does look like it's earthed, but we'll be changing that because I ain't plugging that into my mains. That's not fused. Okay, let's see what else we've got in the box. These things here, these clearly look like cleaning tools for removing blockages and stuff like that. And let's move this box out of the way. I think this is going to be a stand. Yes, it is. We've got a stand here. So we've got a stand that's got some metal bits. Not sure how that all goes together. I will have a look in a moment. But it's also got a sponge in it, so you stick your sponge in there for cleaning the tip. Yada, yada, yada. Usual stuff. And so that can go in... That goes in there. Yeah. Okay, yeah, that's pretty good. Yeah, that seems to fit quite nicely. Yeah. Cool. I'm going to risk plugging this in. I'm also going to check if this is earthed before I do, just so I have a rough idea on how dangerous this thing may or may not be. Okay, the earth pin is connected. That's a good start. And the death adapter is not earthed. There you go, guys. That's what happens. That's what you get. Yeah, fine. Well, it's insulated plastic and stuff. I will be changing this plug, don't worry. Okay, I have plugged it in. It doesn't have an on-off switch anywhere, so it's just on now. So let's see. It goes up to 450 degrees. It's currently set to 410. Cool. I'm going to leave that to warm up. And in a minute, we're going to have a quick demonstration on what this thing can be used for. So the reason why I've chosen to buy one of these now is I've got a video in the works. It may even be out already. I'm not sure what order I'm going to release stuff in, where I needed to do some desoldering on some older and more delicate circuit boards. And I looked up some guides online for desoldering old dip packages. The people on there were all using desoldering guns. So I was like, oh, damn it, they're using those and not desoldering wick. I've also seen other people, including colleagues in the same industry as me, who have used these desoldering guns for removing DC jacks from laptop motherboards, where they literally just put it on there, it goes brrr, and it just sucks all the solder straight out the pins. So they don't have to hot air it out. They don't have to go and wick away all the holes and everything. And they make it look so easy. And I'm like, man. So, you know, I got to the point where I was just looking at this. I'm like, man, why the hell don't I own one of these things? So I'm like, sod it. I've got a little bit of extra money from the channel. Okay, the red light has gone out. So I think that thing's up to temperature. That was, yeah, that's pretty good. Pretty quick. So I was like, yeah, sod it, we're buying one. So this cost me about £100. That's, I think it was about $100 actually. So, you know, it's around about that kind of price tag. So that would be $100 to $120, that kind of thing. This was one of the slightly larger ones. Let me move the camera. There were other options available that were cheaper than this one. Like I could get really cheap looking ones that might have been able to connect to my existing 2-in-1 soldering workstation, but they looked really cheap and nasty. And I'm like, I got a feeling that that thing's going to catch fire and melt. Whereas this one was a low-cost one that actually looked effective. And as I say, I saw other YouTube channels using this exact model to great effect. So now that thing has warmed up, let's have a go with it. So what I've got here, this is an old scrap board from the wall behind me. Whoops, I've gone off of focus. And so what I'm going to try and do is I'm going to try and desolder this DC jack here. Now normally if I was trying to get this thing out, we've got 4 anchor points, 1, 2, 3, 4, and there are 5 pins in total, 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. So this thing is very well held secured to the board, and this would be a reasonable amount of work to hot air off the board. I could quite easily do it, but it would be a reasonable amount. And then once I removed it with the hot air gun, I'd need to clear the holes, probably using solder wick, and that would be a huge faff. So let's just see how well this thing does on its own. Now, I'm not sure. I'm going to try a couple of tests. I'm going to try clearing one of the anchor holes without doing any prep work at all. So no flux, I'm not going to wet it, I'm not going to do anything. We're just going to go straight in and just see if we can suck the solder clean out from that. So let me just adjust the camera to give us both a good view, and we'll see how this goes. All right. So the way this thing works, we've got essentially a soldering iron on the end, but there's a hole in there. And when I press the button, it's got a little suction cup that sucks the molten solder up into here. So let's see how that goes. Okay, that did absolutely nothing, which doesn't really surprise me. So I think what we need to do is wet the join up. So I'll just warm up my soldering iron, and I'm just going to wet those joins so the melting point drops. And we'll see if we can actually get some flowage going on there. Because on an old board like this, where it's been machine soldered, it is actually quite difficult to get the solder moving. So wasn't surprised that didn't work. There we go, let's get some heat right down into there. Okay, so I've wetted the joint. Now let's try it again. I almost feel like I don't have enough heat. The indicator is at 410. Take that up to 420. Can I just melt the side? I should be able to. I'm having difficulty getting heat in there, I think. Can I just add a little bit of solder in there now? What if I actually just tin the tip of this? There we go, now we're cruising. Yeah, so that has removed, that has cleaned up the top of that. It's hard to see. Let me adjust the focus a little bit. It's really taken all the solder off the top of that. Let's try and do the other one as well. Yeah, okay, that's kind of neat. Let's try and do all of these points and see if I can then just go ahead and just remove this DC jack. Oh, look at that. Yeah, that was cool. So again, we're just wetting it with some fresh solder just to get the heat down into the joint. Place that right over and so. And that hole is practically cleared. Ah, that one's cleared completely. Oh, this thing's magic. I love it. See, even if the jump doesn't fall off immediately after this, when I use the hot air to finish the job, it's going to be a cinch. You know, it's going to make that bit much easier. So, has this thing loosened at all? No, it hasn't finished the job, but I would wager I could probably hot air that off really easily now. And then we'll try using the desoldering gun to clear the holes. Okay, so now I'm going to use my hot air gun just to flow the whole lot of this thing. There we go. God, I don't want to go without a fight. Alright, so we pulled it out, and that was about as difficult as it would have been if I hadn't used the desoldering gun. Did I damage the other side of the board there? Because I was really vicious with it. No, we didn't. It's fine. So now we're left with the problem that not all of these holes are clear. We can see that some of them are, but like this guy here and this guy here are not clear enough that if I were to try and put in a new DC jack, ow, that one's still hot, it would not go through those holes. So how do we clear those holes? Now previously, again, I would have got the solder wick out and spent a lot of time faffing over that. But theoretically now, what I can do is I can get the desoldering gun, and if we just do the same treatment on that, I reckon we can probably clear those holes quite nicely. Once again, I'm going to re-wet them, because you need to get some solder in there to get everything flowing. Otherwise it's not going to come out. Bang, look at that. It's completely clear. Let's try this one. Clear. This thing is amazing. I should have bought one of these years ago. Clear. Done. That is absolutely fantastic. Let's just do that back one again. Look at that. That's amazing. Those holes are completely clear. It's like there was never anything in there. That's fantastic. Now, I've got videos on my channel where I've replaced DC jacks on the board like this, and I've spent forever doing all of the wicking work, and I often fast forward or skip through that in editing, just so you guys don't have 10 minutes of fast-forwarded footage of me going, oh, a bit of solder in there, get the wick at the right angle and add more flux. And that guy just made, that was comically easy. That was comically easy. Man, I should have bought one of these years ago. This is fantastic. I'm very happy. So yeah, that's the desoldering gun. So what I'm going to do now, I'm going to turn this thing off and I'm going to go and buy a UK plug for it so it's actually earthed and not using a death trap travel adapter. I'll put all of that into the video as well, just so if any of you guys, especially my UK viewers, there's quite a lot of you guys, if any of you guys are looking at this going, that's cool, I want one of those, you can see how you can take that, put a safe plug on it and use it confidently without going, is this thing actually safe? Because yeah, right now, this thing isn't earthed, which means as well as being hot, that metal, if there's a fault in the device, could become live at mains voltage. Whereas if we make sure that that thing is earthed, then it's safe in the event of an electrical failure. Cool, I'll see you guys in a bit. Now this thing has cooled down, we'll just have a look at how you remove the extracted solder for cleaning and such like. So this is, I think they said it was a glass tube, but it feels pretty plastic to me. But it looks like this comes back here, and I can remove this tube like that. So that's got some kind of sealant on it. I'm not sure what you use there. If anyone can tell me what I should replace that with, that'd be awesome. And then we've got a little filter at the back. I'm just going to put this out of the way because while it has cooled down, it has still got some heat in it. So I just poke that out. There we go. So we've got a little filter at the back there. So that obviously just stops, that is obviously thick enough to stop any solder whatsoever from going into the pump. And it looks like we've just got a baffle plate there that the solder just, it basically just splats against. And that, yeah, that's basically our solder catcher. Oh, I hope all of that was on. God, it carries a lot of heat in that thing. There we go. And there's the solder that I was just working with. And that just goes into the scrap. Nice. I'll put that back together again. Ow. God damn. I just put a lot of heat into that metal plate. That's surprising. There we go. So I don't know how often that really needs to be done in the real world. Perhaps you guys who in the comments who already own these things could give me some tips on that. How often do you clean yours? Do you use it? Do you clean it every time you use it, or do you just wait until it's visibly got a lot of schmutz in it? Because I mean, presumably you could wait until this thing has got a lot in, or whether it's actually obstructing it. Or do you clean it out every time you use it? Nice. So let's lop this guy off. I don't have a proper pair of pliers for this, so I'm just going to maul it off with my strippers. I should probably check that live and neutral are connected the right way around on this. Yeah, how about that? Oh no, brown is live. Yeah, I did have that correct. So blue is neutral. Yeah, that's fine. Make sure he's in. Yep. Cool. Now I'm just going to push that up a little bit and tighten down the cable grip. There we go. That's biting in. And I can't pull that out. There we go. I have wider plug. You know, I'm just going to poke that neutral in just a little bit further because there's exposed wire there. And I reckon if I'm trying to have my safety helmet on, there shouldn't be any exposed wire. I mean, I suppose it doesn't really make a difference considering all these terminals are themselves exposed wire, but, you know. There, that looks nice and tidy. Oops. Dunzo. There we go. And now I've got a nice UK plug on it. Cool. Right, so I'm going to do one more test on this. I'm going to plug it in and I'm going to check if it uses as much power as it says it does. It says it's a 100 watt unit, so we're going to plug it in and see if it pulls 100 watts. And that is pulling 113 right now. Just out of interest, if I pull the trigger now, actually jumped up to about 132 there. So it does pull more than 100 watts. Yeah, so the maximum we pulled was 132.9. So yeah, it will spike over 100 watts, but yeah, it's not a million miles out. It's roughly correct. I think it's reasonable to say that it's got about a 30 watt motor in it and a 100 watt heater-ish. So yeah, past that, I think that's everything. Right, and that's it. So that's the, I guess I'll call it the Gaojie. I have no idea how you pronounce that in Chinese, so I'm just, or Mandarin, so butchering that entirely. But that's the GJ S-993A desoldering gun. Thank you very much for watching, everyone. I will try and provide links to this one in the description down below. So if you want to buy one, you can buy one through one of my associate links. Otherwise, it seems like a really great unit. So yeah, I hope this was useful to anyone who's seen these about and wanted to know some information on it, just like I did. And yeah, thanks a lot. See you all next time. Bye for now.